Hello, everyone. It's so great to be here, and I have such a special guest for all of you today. I have met Hanshi Deena Naidu. Oh gosh, I don't even remember how many years ago. It feels like a lifetime, that's for sure. Probably
Yeah,
about 7 years ago.
yeah, yeah, even a bit more, I think. Yes, yes.
Yeah, something like that. And Hanshi has been a great spiritual mentor for myself, and I hope that many of you will resonate with it as well. So Hanshi is a karate master, graduated out of Japan in 1976. That's when I was born, Hanshi. And he is also a meditation teacher, a Reiki master. He's a yoga teacher. He's a spiritual counselor for so many people internationally. He is also the creator and founder of Spirit Mind Awareness, SMA, as he is calling it, a great teacher, as well as he is a Gyatso master. Hanshi, wow, like you've got so much under your belt. And
Yes.
so many books as well that you have written. How
15
many are
books, Christina, 15 books.
15 books?
Mm.
Beautiful. Now, we are here to talk about something that you have launched, your latest book that you launched recently, which is has a really, really interesting title, Speaking with God. So, what has inspired you to write a book about speaking with God?
Yes, yes. My daughter, Namasha, passed away not so long ago on the 2nd of April. And she
Mm,
was 45 years old. One would think, it's normally the children that bury the parents. And here's a situation where my my daughter passed away and we had to bury her. And it's
mm,
kind of unusual. It's not normal situation. And I adored her tremendously, her successes in life, and she was such a divine soul. And to think that she would die at such a young age, 45 years old, and leave us, for probably far greater reasons than we understand. But at
mm,
the time when I found her, uh, I actually discovered her body. And I was kind of, thinking about this and why would somebody so young pass away so soon when they
mm,
have the entire life in front of them? All these things were playing on my mind. And as a parent, and I think, is the universe punishing me for some reason or the other? Why is this happening to me? And one always thinks about themselves. They've contributed so much in life, and I haven't hesitated to do that. I've done a lot of work with people, and I've helped many, many, many souls on the planet. And I thought, why would somebody so young be taken away so soon? So I had all these burning questions. And as you know, Christina, on a number of occasions we've spoken. You've heard me talk about my spiritual experiences. And now I put it out to the universe. And I
mm,
said, why did she die? Why did she go? She was so young. And then what happened was at 3 o'clock in the morning, the answers came. For 2 weeks, Christina, I wrote all these things that was coming through from the universe. It
mm,
downloaded onto my consciousness, and I would write from 3 to 5 every day for 2 weeks. And I completed 114 pages that was then looked at the editor. She looked at it, took about a week, and then the publishers got it, and the book has been produced, Speaking with God. It is both in hard copy as well as soft copy. Now, even I, at this stage, reading the book as I did before we came on air, I was looking at this book and I'm thinking, wow, what a great book this is for a lot of people, especially those people that have lost loved ones. Everybody has lost loved ones sometime or the other. And I wrote this book and I've been gifted or given that ability to write the story of Namasha passing away and the things that talk about the journey of life. So during the course of my writing, I had other questions, things I wanted to know about myself. I wanted to know about the souls on the planet, what are these different souls? What is the purpose of having all these different souls? Why can't we just be one source, come into the world, live our life, and off we go? It's not as simple as that. So I discovered while writing this book these answers, and much of it I didn't know before. So
Hmm.
that's
So
my
what's the
story.
book? What's really the book about? Like, what is it? Is it about self-discovery? Is it about a higher truth? Is it about, divinity? Is it about ourselves? What is the book about? What is really the book diving into it?
Yeah. Right. The book is all about all those things you mentioned. It is kind of compressed into simple, easy language. Easy language. Anybody could pick up this book and read it. It's not complex, it's very simple to understand. I
Mm,
had Dr. Bunting, Basil Bunting, was both a medical doctor and a clinical psychologist. Is a highly acclaimed one, a very powerful one, and he knows the business in both the medical field and about the mind. And he had picked up this book to read it. He, incidentally, was the first one to receive the book because he wanted it straight away. And on his birthday, he got the book. Now, he said to me on a number of occasions already that he reads this book like enjoying a good meal. So he reads it slowly and appetizingly and hungry. And he's
mm,
tempted to go into the next chapter, but he stops himself. He reads the book, rereads the chapter, rereads the chapter 3 times. And although he understands it at the first glimpse of the book, but he reads it again and again just to digest the information. So Dr. Basil Bunting has given me the assurance that anybody can pick up this book and read it. It's simple to read, easily digestible, very appetizing, and it will quench the thirst of everybody very thirsty to know about life.
I think it's, I admittedly had a on and off relationship with God.
Yes.
I it was actually, it's interesting you saying this, because it was actually the passing of a close a cousin to me. When I was in my 20, I was 19, I think,
Right.
and I lost two very dear people to me. One was a nephew, which was like a brother in a way, and then a
Right.
cousin, which was like a brother as well. And both of them died in a car accident out of a sudden. And I remember arguing with God. Why? Like, why would you take these people? Why? Especially one of them, his dad passed away just a few years before, and he was a young man in his 20, and he was helping his sick mother and two younger sons. And I was like, why taking someone like that away from, the family who needed him? And I felt so angry, and I was like, you can't be a good
Right.
God if you take these people away, right? That was me thinking at the time. So I move away from God, and completely deny its existence, and then come slowly came back to faith, because I remember having a conversation with someone who said, you don't have to believe in one thing, like, you can call it God or Allah or, I don't know, universe or whatever it
Divinity.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
But just have faith. And I was like, I don't understand. I had a really hard time understanding the whole faith thing. I'm like, no, the power is within me, and I am a cause. I'm the one that does all of these things. And um and then it kind of hit me one day that just believing, it's faith, and trusting, and um connecting. And what is God for you? What is it? What's divinity for you? What is it? And talk just from your perspective, because obviously this is for every single person.
Okay. Okay.
For me, it
I'm
was
happy
just
to answer that.
for
You
me it
know,
was the
this. Mm.
possibility. What is it
Yes.
for you?
Yes. Well, there's this false doctrine, and I think in many instances has become a business. This false doctrine that God is a white man, very old in age, with long flowing hair and blue eyes. He's that old, he's ready to die. This
Mm,
is the false illustration of God.
mm,
You know, how can this old white man, or black man, or brown man, or whatever man he is, be omnipresent? How
mm,
can this one individual being be everywhere in all things? So, what I did from childhood, as soon as I was intellectually capable, I started putting the pieces together. And thank God for my beautiful parents who have now passed, that they had a great interest in spirituality and giving me the kind of documentation to read, sitting down over dinner, talking about different things, that I was able to understand God differently to most people. So I believe that God is not found in a temple, a church, and a mosque. God is
mm,
found in all things everywhere. So in my SMA courses, I teach as an exercise, which you've done, that if you see a worm, that is God. If you see an ant, that is God. If you touch a tree, that is God. Everything is divine energy called God. God is not a single entity. So I'm going to give you a little story that was going to help you. When my father was a young man, he was misguided by his friends, and he jumped on the bandwagon, and his ego told him many things about life. And so he had this kind of egoistic attitude that he knew everything. So in outside a Hindu temple there was a huge rock, and people would come and pray in front of the rock before they entered the temple. So they would prostrate, they would offer fruit to the rock, they would offer light a candle, pray, and then enter the temple. This was the kind of ritual. And my father used to observe this, and something funny tricked in his head, that these are all foolish people. What are they doing, these silly people, prostrating in front of a rock and thinking that's God? So what did he do? Out of cheek, he jumped on the rock with his shoes on. It's a taboo. You cannot do that. It is craziness to be do a foolish thing like that. And he did. He jumped on the rock and he started jumping on it saying, "Where's God? These silly people are praying in front of this rock saying it's God. There's no God here." And immediately he collapsed. He was paralyzed from his hip down. He couldn't move. He just lay like a zombie, only moving his eyes. He couldn't move his arms. He couldn't move his legs. He couldn't move his body. He was just staring into space.
Mm.
And his friends got such a shock. They looked at this. They didn't know what to do. They were shaking him. He wouldn't come back. He was just lying there, hypnotized, not even aware about what's going on. These kids ran and got the parents, and they said, this guy has collapsed. So the parents came and said, what did he do? And they explained what he did. And they offered flowers, light, fruit, and prayed in front of the rock and said, please forgive this ignorant little boy. He's got no idea. He was 12 years old at the time. And as they prayed, with tears rolling down their eyes, my father got up and was able to walk. And he had to fall on his knees and apologize to the divinity in that rock for saying those nasty things. My father said to us as children then, and even as adults, he repeated that story many times. God is omnipresent. God is in all things, material or invisible. God is in the rock. God is in the tree. God is in every insect, in everything. So my perception of God is not a single human being up in heaven somewhere. And we don't even know where up is. If you're in space, where is up? There's no up. So
Mm.
my conclusion is, and I've had plenty of experiences with God, plenty, unbelievable experiences, and showing me the presence. I mean, I'll give you one tiny one very quickly. My leg swelled up like a football overnight. We went to the doctors and specialists to say, look at my leg, it's all swollen. I don't know what I've done with it. And they couldn't fix it. Nobody could fix it. Nobody could fix it. So that night before I fell off to sleep, I said, God, wherever you are, I've helped so many people in this life. Look at me, I can't help myself. So I was taken out of my body and I found myself in an environment in a room. And when I looked down, I saw shoes on my feet. I was sitting in the presence of God in this room with a number of deities in that room. In that room, there were so many different deities of God, representations of God, all in the same room with me, with me. And I'm sitting, and God sitting on my left side. I was on God's right side. Now, God came up. When I took my shoes off, placed it outside the room, came up, grabbed my leg and rubbed it. And as God rubbed my leg, the bliss that went through every cell in my body was just incredible. I was screaming in ecstasy, in joy, like unbelievable joy.
Mm.
Every cell was screaming in joy in my body. And then God did it again. Second time, which was even more greater. And
Mm.
then the third time, Christina, I screamed that loud. Remember, I was sleeping and my wife's next to me. And I screamed that loud. I woke her up. She says, what happened? Why are you screaming? I said, the joy that just went through, and this is my experience. She said, why don't you check your leg? And with my right leg, I kicked out the blanket and my leg was completely healed.
Mm.
Everything gone, back to normal. That is my direct experience.
So, do you think like the prayer or a meditation is a prayer the same thing with a meditation?
Meditation is to go into your deepest consciousness, right? And lift your consciousness through vibration. So if I say to you, Christina, I want you now to send love to somebody, right? Picture somebody that people dislike you, send love to that person. Firstly, you're a little bit resistant because that person, they don't like you, right? So you're resistant. But then you push that aside and you say, okay, I'm going to send love to this person that doesn't like me. Let's change that relationship between us. And then you
Mm.
create a channel from your heart chakra to their heart chakra, and you send this love energy and it fills their body. Absolutely guarantee you, with the intensity of your love, the relationship between you and the other person will change. That is the
So
power
isn't
of meditation.
so isn't that like a prayer? Because you do the same thing in
Now,
a prayer.
prayer
Is that
is when
different?
you are asking for greater things. When you are asking, see, people ask in prayer for the wrong things. They pray, make me rich. I need to win the lotto. I need to have a bigger house and a better car. So, this is not real prayer. Real prayer. So, there was this Indian man, a very rich man in his home village, and there were beggars in this place in India that would come knocking for food and money and so on. So there was this beggar that came to the house and he knocked on the door, and the door was slightly ajar. He knocked on the door, nobody came, and he could hear some murmuring in the background. So he poked his head in and he saw this man, this rich man, praying to God. Give me more money. I need more money. I need a bigger house. I need to get this, that, and the other. Everything was about asking for his ego to be lifted a bit more. So this beggar turned around and started walking away, and this rich man heard some noise. So he came to the door and he says, "Excuse me, can I help you?" And the beggar turned around and he came to the rich man. He says, "No, I don't think you can help me." He says, "Why? Anything you need, I'm happy to give you." He said, "Look, what I needed was a little bowl of food because I'm hungry, but you are a bigger beggar begging God for greater things. So you are far bigger a beggar than I am. All I wanted was a little bowl of food. You wanted greater things. So thank you very much. I'll be okay. Somebody else will give me some food. Uh, Continue your begging, and I will leave you to it." And he left. So what I'm trying to say is there is this constant begging of people. People are begging. They're not asking for the right things, but they're begging for more and more and more for themselves. It's called selfish prayer. Selfless prayer is when you pray for a better world, when you pray for rain so the farmers are happier, when you pray for change in people's mentality to make this world a better place. That is real prayer.
Hmm.
That is the
What
difference.
what will be what will be if what's your favorite chapter in the book, and why is that in speaking with God?
Yeah, my favorite chapter is on the first page. It's on the first page. So my favorite chapter is my dedication to my daughter Namasha.
Hmm.
And the question. So I wrote this. She passed on Thursday the 2nd, and when I asked the question, God speaks, and it says, "When I'm here, you must never fear. Always by you, with you, besides you, and in you. You may not see me, hear me, feel me, but know it is only I that appears like a thief in the night to steal your heart. I am in you like the appearance of the rising sun with every breath, and the dawn in the settling down of fears." That's my favorite chapter in the first page.
Hmm. And it speaks about God being in us, right? God being everywhere around us and in us. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not away from God. The only thing is our own ego prevents us from recognizing that God is within us. If we get rid of the ego and we start saying, and I'm talking about vanity here, not the individual self, because everybody is ego. Everybody is an individual self, which is called the ego in spiritual terms. But if we remove this vanity of where we think we're greater than or less than other people, that ego in vanity disappears, and God rises up within yourself, right? And makes you understand life and its journey.
Hmm, that's beautiful. And before I let you go, we have a few more minutes. I just want to ask you, what would you want to leave the audience with? Like, why it's important for them to read this book? Why they should pick up the book and who is it for, really?
Hmm. Okay. Everybody that wants to know the journey of life, everybody that wants to know the different soul levels, right? I explain in the book the different soul levels. I shouldn't say I am
Mm.
explaining, but I am writing the different soul levels. Why are some people greedy? Why are some people revengeful? Why are some people demonic in their ways? Why are some people animalistic? Why are some people like angels and other people like divine beings? So you have these different soul levels. Why are they so? So anybody that wants to know about life, its journey, wants to know about how to reach divinity, how to become a better human being on this planet, and and help everybody. I mean, the only way to God is only love all, serve all. There's no other way. Love all, serve all, and you reach God. Help ever, hurt never. If you stick by those two commandments, nothing else matters. You don't have to do anything else. You
Mm.
know, I've stood on platforms talking to lots of people on different spiritual levels. I even did the Catholic nuns in Tokyo, spoke about spirituality about them. I said, you're not a wretched sinner. You are not a despicable soul. You are a child of God, your divinity. You are carrying the omnipresent God within you, and so is everybody else.
That's beautiful. A great reminder to, make better choices and show up in a different way as well, isn't that, Hanshi?
Yes.
So thank you
If
so
we can
much.
love everybody, even your enemies, we've got the understanding. Just
Mm.
love everybody. It doesn't matter
And
what people do to you, it matters what you do to others.
because learning to forgive will help as well, isn't it?
Not
For
forgive,
sure.
but at the same time, don't associate with the demon. Very soon, those qualities will rub on you
Mm.
because
Well, for those
people are different soul levels, right?
That's right, and we are evolving. Well, for those of you who want to, continue the conversation on a one-on-one with Hanshi, make sure that you go to www.goshincaninternational.com. You're going to find out there a lot of options and a lot of the things that Hanshi does. Hanshi, when are you doing the book signing? What's the date?
Yeah, the 26th of September at Rody Hill Public School on Westminster Street, right? You know the place very well. Westminster Street, Rody Hill, the public school. The principal is going to be the guest, the special guest on that day.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, what a great man. I
Yeah,
thought,
he's a great principal. Scott,
yeah, yeah.
Mr. Scott
Yeah, for
Fitz
sure.
is a
I was so
great,
happy.
yeah,
Great
he's a
influence on the kids.
wonderful soul. I just love the guy to bits. He's just, and I'm hoping to get the very first principal that came to that school 40 years ago that took me on. I'm trying to get him to come there, but he lives too far away at Hornsby. I'm trying to make some kind of arrangement to get him there because these are two wonderful souls.
Beautiful,
John
beautiful.
Patterson is the first principal, and Scott Fitz is the second one, and they're both beautiful souls, absolutely wonderful.
Well, thank you so much for making some time for us today, Hanshi. I really appreciate you. Again, you can contact Hanshi Deena on his website. If you just click on the link that I have
On
left in the
on
comment.
on Facebook as well. Facebook, yeah.
Absolutely. And for those of you who want, to know more about the book, make sure you are joining Ruti. You're joining him for the signing of the book on the 22nd of September
No,
at
no, 26th.
oh, 20,
26th.
sorry, 26th of September at Rooty Hill Public School as well. Then you can get your hands on a signed copy as well. Thank you so much,
This,
Hanshi.
yeah, this book will change their lives. Their life will never be the same after reading this. Never be
I'm,
the same.
like every other book that you have wrote, Hanshi, life changing for sure. Thank you so much for being here, and make sure you are sharing this on your Facebook, LinkedIn, or just directly send this to anybody that needs to hear it. And make sure that you contact, Hanshi if you need
Yeah.
to get the book. And we'll leave a link in here as well for them to actually maybe purchase it directly online. Is that possible, Hanshi?
Yes, I just want to say something very, very quickly. I thank all those people. Some people have actually bought. Nate McGree from Queensland has bought 5 books and he's donated 3 to people that can't afford it. Ian Abrams bought 7 books and donated 5 to people that can't afford it. So people are buying these books and donating it to people that can't afford it. It's not expensive, but the problem is I produce in Australia, so it's expensive to produce. But the pages will change their lives. Please share with everybody else. If everybody gets a copy of this book, the life will change for everybody. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Hanshi. I will see you again for another insightful podcast another time. Take care.
Yes, thank you for your time. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
No worries.